Hey, WTF history crew, welcome back to the channel where we dig into the wildest, darkest corners of the past. If you're new here, you're in for a ride, because today we're starting a 10-part journey into the mind of one of history's most infamous monsters, Caligula, the Roman emperor whose name alone sends chills down your spine. This isn't just a story about a crazy guy doing crazy things. No, this is about how one man turned his personal depravity into a system, a machine of horror that chewed up lives, families, and the very soul of Rome. Over the next 10 episodes, we're going to walk through the marble corridors of his palace, where love became a weapon, daughters became numbers, and fathers were forced to light the way for their own nightmares. Ready to step into the storm? Let's go. It's 39 CE, and a thunderstorm is raging over Rome, shaking the imperial palace like the gods themselves are angry. Senator Marcus Claudius stands in a dimly lit corridor, clutching a torch that flickers like it's as terrified as he is. His hands tremble, not from the cold, but from the sound slipping through the heavy oak door ahead. Those aren't party noises or the clink of wine cups. They're screams, muffled but unmistakable, and they belong to his 14-year-old daughter, Claudia. Just a few years ago, she was playing with wooden dolls, giggling in their villa's garden. Now, she's entry number 247 in an imperial ledger, reduced to a statistic in a system designed to break her. Two Praetorian guards flank Marcus, their faces blank as stone, hands resting on sword hilts. "Hold it steady, Senator," one mutters, no emotion in his voice. The emperor needs proper lighting for his activities. Marcus can't move, can't speak, can only grip that torch as its flames cast dancing shadows on the marble walls, turning the corridor into a gallery of despair. This isn't random cruelty. This is calculated, documented, stamped with the seal of divine authority. Down the corridor, other fathers stand like statues, each holding their own torch, each wearing the same haunted look of internal collapse. A scribe sits in an alcove, his quill scratching away, logging Claudia's acquisition with the same boredom he'd use for a shipment of grain. Lightning flashes through the palace windows, illuminating faces frozen in horror. Men who've lost not just their daughters, but their dignity, their hope, their sense of what it means to be human. This is Caligula's Rome, where personal tragedy isn't just a moment, it's policy. Where daughters become inventory, violations generate revenue, and fathers are turned into accomplices. How did one of the greatest empires in history become a nightmare factory? To understand, we need to rewind to the moment a young man with a charming smile and a dangerous mind stepped into absolute power. Let's go back to March 37 CE. The old emperor, Tiberius, has just breathed his last in his villa at Misenum. Rome, sprawling from Britain to Egypt, is holding its breath. Tiberius's 23-year reign was a slog of paranoia, purges, and fear. Senators lived in dread. The people were restless, and everyone's desperate for change. Enter Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, better known as Caligula or Little Boots, a nickname from his days, toddling around army camps in tiny soldier sandals. He's 24, charismatic, the son of Germanicus, a war hero Romans practically worshipped. When Caligula steps into the purple, the city exhales. Senators whisper in the forum, "This is it, the grandson of Augustus. He'll restore our dignity." The people cheer, soldiers get bonuses, and gladiatorial games light up Rome for days. Tax cuts? Check. Public feasts? You bet. This guy's got charm that could melt marble statues. He's young. He's generous. He's perfect. Or so they think. But there's a shadow behind that smile. In the palace, things are going wrong. A serving girl named Claudia, no relation to our senator, misses her morning shift. Then 2 kitchen slaves vanish. The overseer assumes they've fled until their bodies wash up. In the Tiber, marked with wounds that make hardened soldiers flinch, whispers spread among the palace staff, but no one dares speak aloud. Something's off with the new emperor. Power's a funny thing. It doesn't just corrupt, it reveals. And for Caligula, it's revealing something dark, something waiting for the right moment to erupt. 6 months in, that moment hits. October 37 CE. And Caligula falls ill, maybe fever, maybe epilepsy, maybe poison. For weeks, he's on death's door. Rome prays. Temples overflow with offerings, and citizens slaughter cattle to beg the gods for his recovery. When he pulls through, the city erupts in celebration. But the man who walks out of that sickbed isn't the same. The historian Suetonius, writing later, says it plain, he returned. Different. It's like the fever burned away his humanity. His eyes, once warm, now burn with something else, something that convinces him he's not just an emperor, but a god. And gods? They don't play by mortal rules. The signs start small, but they're chilling. Senators' wives get invitations to private dinners, invitations you can't refuse. Young boys from noble families are summoned for honorary roles, dressed in silk and painted with rouge. Rome makes excuses. He's young, he's testing boundaries, he'll mature. But the palace guard is changing. Caligula swaps. Honorable men for brutes, chosen for cruelty, loyal only to him. He appoints a freedman named Helicon as his master of pleasures, a guy whose job is to fetch whatever, or whoever, the emperor wants. By summer 38 CE, new ledgers appear in the archives, not for taxes or grain, but for people. Names become numbers, daughters become inventory, and Caligula's desires become policy. He starts targeting the untouchable, senators, generals, magistrates. Oppose his tax plan? Question his strategy? Rule against him? You don't get death. That's too quick. Instead, he takes what you love. Most, your wife, your daughter, your son, and makes you watch. Palace architects get bizarre orders. Build chambers where screams carry to nearby rooms. Install torch holders at exact heights so fathers can't look away. The emperor requires witnesses. Helicon tells the workers, who probably wish they could unhear it. By 39 CE, private excess has become a machine, destroying dignity with the precision of Rome's aqueducts. It's not just about breaking individuals. It's about breaking society. Picture a senator walking the forum, knowing any day could bring a summons. You clutch your daughter's hand, send your family to a country estate, hoping distance saves them. It doesn't. Caligula's reach stretches as far as Rome's roads, and his appetites are growing. He's not content with random victims. He wants entire categories, noble wives, young boys, even his own sisters. In the banquet hall, 300 senators fall silent as he reaches for his sister Drusilla. She sits still, her face blank, while her sisters, Julia, Livilla, and Agrippina, stare at their wine cups, knowing their turn's coming. Caligula calls them divine sisters, blessed to share his affection like Juno shares Jupiter's. The senators clap or face treason, their hands shaking, their souls cracking. This is just the start. Over the next 9 episodes, we'll walk deeper into Caligula's palace, where every room hides a new horror. We'll see how he turned his sisters into props, his enemies into accomplices, and his victims into numbers. We'll uncover the ledgers that tracked suffering like a business the breeding programs that turned women into factories, and the corridors where fathers lit their daughters' nightmares. This isn't just one man's madness. It's what happens when evil meets efficiency, when cruelty becomes policy, and when an empire forgets what it means to be human. What do you think so far? Drop a comment and let us know, how does this hit you? Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join us for part 2. We're just getting started. Hey, WTF history crew, we're back for part 2 of our dive into Caligula's nightmare Rome. Last time we stood with Senator Marcus Claudius, torch in hand, forced to light the way for his daughter Claudia's torment. Entry number 247 in a system that turned people into inventory. We saw how Caligula, once Rome's golden boy, started building a machine of horror after a fever convinced him he was a god. Today, we're going deeper into how that machine took shape, how he turned personal depravity into a system that ran like a twisted corporation. The corridors are getting darker, and the ledgers are filling up. Let's walk through and see how Rome's hope became its worst fear. We're in 38 CE, about a year into Caligula's reign. The palace is alive, but not with the joy of those early days when he was tossing out bonuses and hosting epic gladiator games. This is a different kind of energy, tense like the air before, eh? Thunderstorm. Senators who once praised Caligula's promise now avoid eye contact in the forum. Mothers hide their daughters. Fathers ship their sons to far-off provinces, and the palace staff, they're vanishing. Remember Claudia, the serving girl we mentioned last time? Her body was one of the first to wash up in the Tiber, marked with wounds that silenced even the toughest soldiers. Those disappearances were just the warm-up. Caligula's done playing small. He's building something big, something cold, something that makes random cruelty look like child's play. It starts with a palace guard. After his illness in October 37 CE, Caligula's convinced he's divine, and divine emperors don't need honorable men. He replaces Tiberius's loyal soldiers with brutes picked for their cruelty, their loyalty to him alone, and their willingness to do anything, no questions asked. These guys aren't just muscle, they're enforcers of a new order. Then there's Helicon, the freedman, turned master of pleasures. His job? To hunt down whatever or whoever Caligula wants. Helicon's not just a yes man. He's a logistics master, turning the emperor's whims into a well-oiled machine. By summer 38 CE, the palace archives get a new edition, ledgers. Not for grain or taxes, but for people. Imagine a scroll, neatly organized with columns for names, ages, family ties, and purpose. A merchant's daughter here, a senator's wife there. Each entry is a life reduced to a number, like wine jars in a cellar. These ledgers aren't random scribbles. They're the backbone of Caligula's system. The first entries are sporadic, almost testing the waters. A name here, a number there. But soon, they're filling up fast. Caligula's not just taking strangers. He's targeting Rome's elite. The people who thought their status made them safe. Oppose his tax plan? Your daughter's name hits the ledger. Question his military strategy? Your wife's next. It's not chaos. It's personal. Designed to hit where it hurts most. The palace itself becomes a stage for this horror. Caligula orders architects to build chambers with a purpose. Acoustics that carry screams to adjacent rooms. Torch holders at exact heights, so witnesses can't look away. The emperor requires witnesses. Helicon tells the workers, who must have felt their souls shrink with every hammer strike. These rooms aren't for sleeping. They're for suffering, designed to amplify every cry, every plea for those forced to listen. Picture Senator Flavius, a man who signed treaties and led armies. now standing third in line outside Caligula's chamber. His torch trembles as sounds leak from inside. Senator Brutus's daughter, her cries cutting through the storm outside. Behind Flavius. For more fathers wait, their torches casting shadows that look like ghosts. The guards are bored, barking, "Keep it steady," as if this is just another shift. The air smells of smoke and fear. And a scribe's quill scratches nearby, logging another acquisition with the indifference of a market tally. This is the machine in action. Every detail planned, every role assigned, every horror documented. It's not enough for Caligula to destroy his victims. He needs an audience, and that audience is usually their family. Fathers, husbands, brothers, holding torches to light the emperor's divine justice. Why go to all this trouble? Because Caligula's not just indulging himself. He's sending a message. Absolute power means breaking what's sacred, and nothing's more sacred than family. Forcing fathers to witness their daughters' torment shatters the bonds that hold Rome together. A father's supposed to protect, right? Caligula twists that instinct, making them complicit in their children's suffering. It's psychological warfare on a scale that's hard to grasp. Senators walk the forum knowing their families could be next. Mothers clutch their kids tighter. Husbands send their wives away, hoping distance will save them. It doesn't. Caligula's reach is as long as the empire's roads, and his appetite is endless. Those ledgers are the heart of it all. They're not just notes. They're a bureaucracy of evil. Every victim gets an entry. Name, age, family status, purpose. Item 201. Julia Marcella, 19, daughter of Senator Marcus Marcellus. Acquisition date, Calends of Marcius. Purpose, divine service. Status, processing. That word, processing, hides a world of pain. Guards seizing women from their homes, breaking their spirits. Through fear and isolation, turning them into compliant pieces of a machine. By 39 CE, these ledgers track 300 women and 300 boys. Exact numbers that scream quotas, not chaos. Caligula's not just a monster. He's a manager, running human trafficking with the efficiency of Rome's aqueducts. Here's the sickest part. This system makes money. Caligula introduces a service tax, Vectigal X. Capturies, that turns forced labor into profit. Every assignment generates denarii, tracked and deposited into the treasury. First quarter of 39 CE, 2,000 denarii. Second quarter, 8,000. Third quarter, 15,000. The numbers climb as the operation grows, with the accountant, Sabinus, scribbling notes like a corporate exec, suggest increasing inventory before festival season. Higher revenue from younger categories. It's horrifying, but it's brilliant in a twisted way. Caligula's not just destroying lives. He's profiting from it, turning Rome's elite into a revenue stream. Victims aren't chosen at random. Caligula's got a pattern. Political opponents are hit first. A senator votes against him, his daughter's in the ledger by week's end. A merchant questions taxes. His wife's acquired. A magistrate rules against the emperor, his household's targeted. But Caligula spreads the pain to keep everyone on edge. Today's ally could be tomorrow's torchbearer. The selection process is chillingly efficient. Informants pick targets, scouts confirm details, strike teams execute acquisitions. Each step is documented, reviewed, optimized like a military campaign against human dignity. This is heavy, I know. Imagine waking up every day knowing your family's on a list. You're a senator trying to govern, but every vote could cost you your daughter. Or imagine being one of those women dragged from your home, knowing your father or husband is forced to watch. This is about breaking spirits, making people complicit in their own destruction. And we're not done. Next time, we're stepping into the temple of divine service, where Caligula wrapped his horrors in a mockery of religion, forcing Rome's elite to play along. What do you think of this system so far? Drop a comment and let us know. How's this hitting you? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 3. The darkness is just beginning. Hey, WTF history? Fam! We're back for part 3, walking deeper into Caligula's twisted Rome. Last time, we saw his machine take shape. Ledgers tracking human lives, guards enforcing a new kind of cruelty, and fathers like. Senator Flavius forced to hold torches while their daughters suffered. It's a system designed to break not just bodies, but souls. Today, we're stepping through the marble doors of the Temple of Divine Service, a place that took Caligula's horrors and dressed them up as religion. This isn't a sacred space. It's a center of exploitation where Rome's elite women were turned into inventory, and their families were forced to play along. Let's see what Caligula built and how it tore Rome apart. We're in 39 CE, and the east wing of the imperial palace has been transformed. From the outside, it looks holy. Marble statues of goddesses line the entrance. Incense burns to create a sacred vibe, and an inscription reads, Temple of Divine Service. But don't let the aesthetics fool you. This is a factory of suffering, where senatorial wives and daughters labor under the guise of divine worship. 40 women work here at any given time, their schedules managed with military precision to keep them alive, but just barely. The statues? Their faces are carved to match the women inside, a cruel reminder that even their identities have been stolen. The incense? It's there to mask the stench of fear and despair that fills the air. Step into the reception area, and you're greeted by a eunuch attendant with a chilling line. Welcome to the goddess's service. Your offering awaits in Chamber 12. May your worship please the divine emperor. It's all wrapped in religious language, but this is a transaction. Visitors, senators, merchants, general seeking. Imperial favor. Carry ivory tokens with times and chamber assignments. The schedules, preserved in palace archives, read like a Senate roll call. Senator Quintus on Tuesday, securing grain contracts. Merchant Flavius on Wednesday, begging for tax relief. General Cassius on Thursday, negotiating his son's military commission. These men aren't here by choice. They're forced to participate to save their families, their careers, their lives. Every visit is documented in duplicate, ensuring their complicity. Blackmail's built into the system's design. The women inside are Rome's elite, wives who once hosted lavish dinners, daughters who walked the forum with pride. Now, their inventory, chosen based on their evaluation scores from those ledgers we talked about. Women with beauty, youth, or spirit, but just enough resistance to make breaking them satisfying, are assigned here. Julia Marcella, wife of Senator Marcellus, scratched her testimony into her cell wall. 4th week of service, 12 appointments daily. I recite poetry to stay sane. They stopped feeding those who resist. Cornelia died yesterday. They made us watch her burial. Her words are a desperate grasp at humanity in a place built to strip it away. The chambers mix luxury with degradation. Silk cushions, golden lamps, ornate mosaics, but nothing hides the reality. Women arrive prepared by slaves who style their hair and dress them in costumes that mock their former dignity. The pricing is straight out of a corporate playbook. Premium appointments cost 500 denarii, more than a soldier's yearly pay. Standard rates are 200 denarii, with volume discounts for frequent visitors. Special packages offer unique experiences, maximizing profit and humiliation. Every visit is documented with notes. That read like customer reviews from hell. Service adequate, but workers showed insufficient enthusiasm. Recommend additional motivation. Another. Young workers' tears added authenticity to the divine experience. The temple pulls in 50,000 denarii a month, more than some provinces' treasuries. Caligula reviews these earnings himself, demanding longer hours, higher prices, more women. The ugliest part? He makes respected men run it. Senator Gaius Piso, a statesman with decades of service, is named divine overseer. He schedules appointments, manages discipline, and ensures revenue targets, all while his own wife works in Chamber 3. His journal, found centuries later, is a descent into madness. Day 47, assign Marcellus's wife to the Thracian ambassador. She begged me to remember our children played together. I had no choice. Day 92, revenue exceeds projections. The emperor is pleased. I vomit blood nightly. By day 130, he's scheduling his own daughter for divine service to save her from worse fates. That's the kind of impossible choice this system thrives on. Physicians, trained to heal, now document injuries with clinical detachment. Physical trauma, exhaustion, terminated pregnancies to keep women available. Those who attempt suicide are force-fed and restrained. Children born here are enslaved immediately, boys for palace. Service, girls raised for future temple work. Monthly religious ceremonies add another layer of horror, with Caligula blessing the establishment while the 40 women demonstrate their service before senators, who watch their wives' public humiliation. He hands out prizes for the most degrading acts, turning trauma into a grotesque competition. This temple isn't just a building. It's a symbol of Rome's collapse. Wives know their husbands might be forced to participate. Husbands know their wives could vanish behind those doors. Children grow up learning power means vulnerability. The system's so efficient, it's almost admirable, if it weren't so horrifying. Every detail, from the incense to the ledgers, normalizes the unthinkable, making atrocity routine. But this is just one piece of the machine. Next time, we're with the torchbearers, fathers like Marcus Claudius, forced to light their daughters' suffering. How does this temple make you feel? Drop a comment and let us know what's the most shocking part so far. Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 4. The horror's only growing. Hey, WTF History fans, welcome back to part 4 of our journey through Caligula's Nightmare Rome. We just left the so-called Temple of Divine Service, where women were turned into inventory and Rome's elite were forced to play along in a mockery of religion. It was a lot, I know. But today we're stepping into those torchlit corridors we glimpsed in part 1, where fathers like Senator Marcus Claudius were made to hold flames steady while their daughters suffered. This isn't just about physical pain. It's psychological torture, so precise it shattered the bonds between protector and protected. Let's walk that 50-foot corridor and see what it meant to be a torchbearer in Caligula's empire. It's 39 CE, and the palace is a maze of marble and misery. The corridor outside Caligula's private chambers is built for one purpose: to force fathers to light there. Docteur Destruction. Iron sconces line the walls, holding torches worn smooth by desperate hands. The architect who designed this setup took his own life rather than see it used, his replacement. Learn fast that moral objections shorten lifespans. Senator Flavius stands third in line tonight, his torch trembling as sounds leak from the chamber. Ahead, Senator Brutus grips his torch, knuckles white, as his daughter's cries cut through the thunder outside. Behind Flavius, for more fathers wait, each knowing their turn is coming. The air's thick with smoke and fear, and the guards? They're bored, muttering, "Keep it steady," like this is just another night on duty. Here's how it works. Your presence is required for illumination duty. Bring your eldest unmarried daughter. Compliance ensures your family's continued prosperity. That last line's a threat. Disobey, and your family. Faces hours later, he's in the palace with his 14-year-old daughter, Claudia, who's dressed in her finest toga, thinking she's here for an honor. She doesn't know what's coming. He does. Guards separate them at the entrance. Claudia is led to preparation chambers, where attendants strip her, apply cosmetics, and sedate her just enough to keep her compliant but aware. Caligula wants his victims to understand their fate. Marcus is handed a torch with instructions. Stand 8 feet from the door, shoulder height. No lowering, no extinguishing. Speaking means your son joins next month's inventory. The corridor is designed for maximum impact. Windows ensure fathers see everything, unable to intervene. The torch isn't just for light. It's a symbol of complicity, forcing fathers to enable the horror they die to stop. Follow Claudia for a moment. In the preparation chambers, the process is mechanical. Her clothes are replaced with garments that mock modesty, her hair arranged to imperial tastes. Sedatives dull resistance, but not awareness. She knows her father's out there, and that hope he'll save her is what Caligula wants to crush. Medical staff document everything: age, health, psychological state, all in triplicate for the archives. When she's led to the chamber, her eyes meet Marcus's through the window, pleading for the father who's always protected her. He can't. He can only hold the torch, its bronze handle stained with tears from dozens before him. The sounds start, muffled, then sharp, cutting through the storm outside. The architects ensured certain. Frequencies carry, so fathers hear every cry. Caligula calls out during a pause. "She has your eyes, Senator." The same defiant spark. "I'll extinguish it properly." Scribe's note. Entry 247. Claudia Claudius, age 14. Acquisition reason: paternal political opposition. Compliance rating: forced. Revenue potential: high. 3 hours later, guards carry Claudia out, alive but changed. Her eyes avoiding her father's. The metamorphosis is complete. Senator's daughter to inventory item, documented in a ledger. This isn't random, it's targeted. Caligula studies his enemies, picking victims for maximum impact. Claudia's youth and innocence make her perfect for teaching Marcus the price of your daughter inside for one. Or, provide steady light and we'll spare your younger daughters. The psychological torture outweighs the physical, shattering family bonds. Many fathers and daughters never speak again, not from lack of love, but from shared trauma. Daughters can't face fathers who lit their darkest moments. Fathers can't face daughters they failed. The torchbearers form a grim brotherhood, passing each other in the forum with knowing glances. Some drink themselves to death, others fall on their swords. Most just exist hollow shells. Quintus Maximus scratched. Graffiti in the corridor. "We are the damned who breathe, the dead who walk, the fallen who failed our sacred duty." The system poisons Rome. Every senator knows their turn could come. Every father sees his daughters as potential victims. The ritual ends with cold efficiency. Guards hand fathers a receipt for duty completed, tied to tax exemptions or promises of safety for now. Daughters, traumatized, are escorted home separately, the distance between them and their fathers unbridgeable. This is the merciful duty compared to what's next. Caligula's dinner parties take. Humiliation public, forcing husbands to discuss their wives' performances over wine and music. How does this corridor hit you? Drop a comment. What's the most chilling part? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 5. The horror's about to go public. Hey, WTF history crew, we're back for part 5, diving deeper into Caligula's twisted Rome. We just left those torch-lit corridors where fathers like Marcus Claudius were forced to light their daughter's suffering, a psychological wound that cut deeper than any sword. Now, we're stepping into a different kind of horror. Caligula's dinner parties. These aren't your typical imperial banquets with witty banter and fine wine. No, these are choreographed spectacles where husbands recline on silk couches, pretending to enjoy delicacies, while their wives face private audiences in nearby chambers. The sounds carry, the humiliation is public, and Caligula plays host like a sadistic showman. Let's pull up a seat at this nightmare feast and see how he turned dinner into a weapon. We're still in 39 CE, and the palace dining hall is a study in contrasts. Golden lamps cast a warm glow. Servants pour wine into jeweled goblets, and musicians pluck lyres to keep things festive. 50 guests, senators and their wives, recline on couches, trying to choke down delicacies while Caligula adjusts his toga and settles onto his throne-like couch. The air's thick with tension because everyone knows what's coming. The emperor's been in an adjoining chamber, meeting with Senator Brutus's wife, and the sounds, deliberately amplified by the room's acoustics, carry through the walls. Caligula strides in, all smiles, and announces, "Adequate," though she lacks proper enthusiasm. "Brutus, you really should ensure better training in your household." Brutus smiles. He has to. The alternative is his 12-year-old son joining next week's entertainment. So he raises his goblet, toasts Caligula's virility, and forces his face to stay calm while his wife's distress echoes. The emperor's not done. "Tell us, Brutus," he says, mock curiosity dripping from his voice. "What methods do you employ at home? Perhaps we could all benefit from shared wisdom." This is the game, forcing husbands to discuss intimate details while their wives endure nearby. Say too little, and you're hiding secrets. Say too much, and you're mocked for inadequacy. Brutus tries to navigate it. "Divine Emperor, I'm merely mortal and cannot compare to your godly prowess." Caligula laughs. "False modesty. Share. Or would you prefer your wife demonstrate with the guards?" The threat hangs like a blade. Brutus stammers through a response, describing his marriage while guests stare at their plates. They know their turn's coming. Wives sit beside their husbands, trying to maintain normalcy, knowing they could be summoned any moment. The selection seems random, but it's not. Caligula watches for affection, a wife touching her husband's hand, a shared glance, and those women are chosen first. He savors the anticipation, dragging out the tension until someone breaks. When a woman's name is called, she rises on trembling legs, walks to the chamber while guards ensure no one looks away, and the meal continues. Servants pour wine, musicians play, and conversations resume with desperate artificiality, screams providing a sick counterpoint. Young Quintus, a senator's son, wrote about his first dinner party. "I bit through my tongue to keep from weeping." Senator Marcus sat beside me, discussing grain prices while his wife's voice broke from distress. He smiled. We all smiled. What else could we do? Sometimes, Caligula escalates with group demonstrations, summoning 3 wives at once and forcing husbands to vote on the best performance. Other nights have themes: all red-haired women, all newlyweds, all mothers. The voting system is pure torture, husbands ranking peers' wives, knowing their own spouses face the same judgment. Winners get slightly better treatment. Losers face public retraining until they improve. Between courses, Caligula offers commentary, comparing each woman's responses to previous victims, suggesting improvements for their husbands. It's clinical, like critiquing a dish. Some husbands crack. Senator Aurelius laughs hysterically during his wife's ordeal, dragged to an asylum where he laughs at shadows. Others drown in wine, risking accusations of disrespect. The party ends with gratitude speeches, husbands thanking Caligula for honoring their wives, wives returning to thank him for his divine attention. The words choke them, but survival demands. They speak. Every detail is documented. Guest lists, meeting details, performance rankings, filed in duplicate. No one can pretend it didn't happen when the records spell out every degradation. These parties normalize atrocity through repetition. But Caligula's got an even darker plan. A breeding program that turns women into factories for future victims. What do you think of these? Dinners? Drop a comment. How does this level of cruelty hit you? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 6. The machine's about to get uglier. Hey, WTF history? Crew, we're back for part 6. And I've got to warn you, this one's heavy. We just sat through Caligula's twisted dinner parties, where husbands were forced to smile while their wives suffered, all part of a system that normalized horror. Now, we're diving into one of the darkest corners of his empire, the breeding program. This is where Caligula turned women into production facilities and their children into guaranteed slaves, a chilling mix of science, cruelty, and bureaucracy. Let's step into the palace basement and see what his doctors were up to. It's late 39 CE, and the palace's medical facilities have become a nightmare. Dr. Lucius Scriptor, trained at Alexandria's renowned medical school to heal, now stands in an examination room that feels like a slaughterhouse. His patient is Julia Tertia, 19, daughter of a senator who questioned imperial spending. She's on a cold stone table, surrounded by scribes and guards, while Scriptor conducts tests to determine her reproductive potential. His notes are cold. Physical measurements indicate childbearing capacity. Family background suggests strong offspring. Recommend immediate assignment to breeding protocols. This isn't medicine. It's human engineering, and Scriptor's just one piece of a machine Caligula runs with terrifying precision. The breeding program started when Caligula realized he didn't need to stop at existing victims. Why limit himself when he could manufacture more? The logic is horrifyingly simple. Turn women into vessels, their children into slaves. It begins with divine unions, forced pairings for optimal offspring. Women like Julia are notified of their assigned partners, meeting them in sterile breeding chambers, observed by physicians documenting conception probability. Maria Claudia, another victim, hid a journal in her cell's wall cracks, later found during renovations. Third assignment today, a soldier who speaks no Latin. We avoid eye contact. The physicians discuss timing while guards ensure proper procedure. I recite poetry in my mind to be elsewhere. Her words are a desperate grasp at humanity in a system that sees her as livestock. The chambers, built next to medical facilities, are clinical, with observation windows and guards enforcing compliance. Special diets, restricted movement, and regular examinations ensure healthy pregnancies, but the women's humanity is irrelevant beyond their biological function. Children born here have their fates decided immediately. Strong boys to military training at age 5. Delicate ones to palace service. Attractive girls to future temple work, others to household slavery. Ledgers track everything. Successful pairings, failed combinations, mortality rates, 40% of. Infants don't survive weaning, erased from records. Mothers rarely learn their children's fates, separated after birth. Caligula's experimenting with bloodlines like a mad scientist. Can senators' daughters and gladiators produce perfect warriors? Will Egyptian-Roman mixes create exotic beauty? His theories fill breeding ledgers, reducing genetics to livestock improvement. Resistors face pharmaceutical compliance, herbs to boost fertility or ensure docility, perfected by physicians who've traded O's for survival. Some women fight back with secret contraceptives or induced miscarriages. Maria's journal notes a group who starve themselves to prevent conception, choosing death over creating victims. When discovered, they're force-fed to keep the machine running. The facilities grow monthly. New examination rooms, larger holding areas, nurseries for classifying offspring. What began as a perverse experiment becomes an industrial process with physicians discussing optimal breeding windows and genetic compatibility, while teenagers are forced into reproductive slavery. Scripters notes grow colder. Subject 89 has produced 4 viable offspring. Recommend continued breeding despite advanced age. Subject 156 died in childbirth. Infant survived. Acceptable loss ratio. Medical precision masks moral abomination, letting educated men commit horrors through detachment. This program breaks Rome's soul. Women as vessels, children as commodities, futures erased. Next, we're exploring how Caligula transformed young boys into feminized servants, stripping their identities for his twisted court. What does this breeding program make you think? Drop a comment. How's this hitting you? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 7. The darkness deepens. Hey, WTF history. Fam, we're back for part 7, diving into another dark corner of Caligula's Rome. The breeding program we just explored turned women into factories, their children into slaves, but now we're shifting to a different kind of transformation. Young boys, noble sons destined for greatness, turned into something unrecognizable. In the palace's north wing, Caligula created a factory of identity destruction, where boys were reshaped into feminized servants for his twisted court. The stories we've uncovered are haunting, and they show just how far he'd go to break Rome's future. Let's step into the transformation chamber and see what he did. It's 39 CE, and Marcus Quintus, a 12-year-old studying rhetoric for a Senate career, is seized from his father's villa. By nightfall, he's in the north wing, standing in a room lined with mirrors that force him to watch his own metamorphosis. Cosmetic specialists work with cold precision, weaving flowers into his hair, painting his face, dressing him in silk garments that emphasize his slight frame. The overseer, a eunuch named Tyro, barks, "Hold still." The divine emperor expects perfection. Marcus's father criticized grain distributions, a small defiance that sealed his son's fate. Now, Marcus is Flora, one of 300 male attendants in Caligula's collection. The process is systematic. Boys aged 10 to 15 have their masculine clothing burned before their eyes, a symbolic death of their old selves. Then come cleansing baths with perfumed oils, marking them as palace property. Finally, the dressing, silk garments, jewelry, cosmetics to create a feminine illusion. These boys aren't just dressed up, they're trained to act the part. They learn to walk with feminine grace, speak in higher registers until their voices crack, and perform dances that destroy childhood innocence. Gaius Maximus, 13, son of a disgraced general, scratched his pain into a dormitory wall. Day 23. They made me perform for father's enemies while wearing mother's jewelry. Tomorrow, I serve wine at the feast. I pray for poison in my cup. The boys serve as cup-bearers, entertainers, or for the unlucky, personal attendants to Caligula. Weekly, they're displayed on platforms for patrons, senators, and merchants seeking favor. 2. Evaluate. Transactions are documented with chilling detachment. Lot 17. Previously Marcus Quintus, now Flora, age 12. Excellent condition, skilled in dance and service. Minimum fee, 1,000 denarii. Some boys dissociate, creating alternate personalities to endure what their true selves can't. Others find protection with a single patron, a lesser evil than communal use. Exceptional beauty or talent might mean survival, but at a soul-crushing cost. The dormitories are twisted schools, teaching cosmetics, comportment, and submission. Boys caught showing masculine behavior, like rough games, face public discipline. Refusing feminine dress means starvation until compliance feels better than death. Medical examinations add humiliation, with physicians documenting development and suitability for service. Senator Claudius saw his son, renamed Lily, serving wine in transparent silk. I didn't recognize him until he spilled the wine. His hand trembled like when nervous about lessons. My warrior's son, reduced to painted decoration. Roman names, Marcus, Gaius, Lucius, are replaced with feminized ones or flower references, eroding identities. Some boys forget their birth names entirely. Resistance brings escalating punishment, public humiliation, isolation, or assignment to soldiers' barracks, where survival is unlikely. At 16, boys age out to false hope. Some become eunuchs for palace roles, others move to specialized service, a few gain freedom through patrons carrying permanent shame. Completion ceremonies mock Roman coming-of-age rituals, with boys modeling final feminine costumes before reassignment. Families who can afford it pay exorbitant sums to reclaim their sons, but what's left is a shadow. This isn't just about Caligula's desires. It's about humiliating Rome's future. Next, we'll see how he turned his own sisters into props in his theater of power, breaking every taboo. What does this transformation make you feel? Drop a comment. How's this hitting you? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 8. The story's getting personal. Hey, WTF history crew, we're back for part 8, and this one's personal. We just saw Caligula transform noble boys into feminized servants, stripping their identities to break Rome's future. Now, we're diving into the heart of his depravity, how he turned his own sisters, Drusilla, Julia Livilla, and Agrippina the Younger, into props in his theater of power. This isn't just about targeting enemies or strangers. He went after his own family, using them to prove his divinity and shatter Roman taboos. Let's step into the banquet hall, where Caligula redefined family bonds in the most horrifying way. It's 38 CE, and the palace dining hall is packed with 300 senators, their eyes glued to their wine cups as Caligula's hand moves toward his sister Drusilla. The room's silent except for the crackle of oil lamps, and Drusilla sits perfectly still, her face a mask of practiced emptiness. Her sisters, Julia Livilla and Agrippina, sit beside her, knowing their turns are coming. Caligula's voice slices through the tension. My divine sisters, blessed by Jupiter himself to share my affection as Juno shares his. The comparison's deliberate. Jupiter married his sister Juno in Roman mythology, and Caligula's claiming the same divine right. The senators have two choices, applaud or face treason. They clap, hands shaking, their silence screaming complicity. This started during Caligula's illness in October 37 CE, when he was fighting for his life. Drusilla was the only one allowed in his chamber, tending him day and night. When he recovered, their relationship had twisted from sibling affection to something that made palace slaves. "Look away. She shares my divinity," Caligula declared, moving her into quarters reserved for wives. Her husband, Lucius Cassius Longinus, was sent to a distant governorship, a mercy compared to later. Husbands' fates. Marcus Lepidus, engaged to Drusilla, learned the price of proximity. Forced to accept her new role, his letters reveal a man unraveling. I smile. I nod. I pretend not to see. What else can mortal men do when gods play their games? The abuse follows a pattern. Mornings, Drusilla sits beside Caligula during Senate petitions, a living symbol of his power. Afternoons, all three sisters participate in religious ceremonies that mock Roman values, rituals staged for witnesses, usually senators who've crossed them. Evenings bring banquets where their degradation is. Dinner entertainment. The sisters develop survival strategies. Drusilla embraces numbness, becoming the hollow vessel Caligula demands. Julia Livilla tries defiance until public punishment breaks. Her, Agrippina, the cleverest, plays the long game, storing every humiliation for future revenge. Palace guards later testified that these ceremonies were so horrific, even seasoned soldiers turned away. The message was clear: if I can do this to my own sisters, imagine what awaits your daughters. When Drusilla's pregnancy becomes apparent in mid-38 CE, Caligula calls it a divine miracle. She carries a god, he proclaims, demanding the Senate honor the unborn child. Priests offer sacrifices, but everyone knows the father and the crime. Drusilla dies in June 38 CE, maybe from childbirth complications, maybe poison. The truth's lost, but Caligula's grief explodes into madness. He declares her a goddess, builds temples, and forces Romans to swear by her divinity. The abuse doesn't stop, it worsens. Julia Livilla and Agrippina now bear Drusilla's burden, forced to wear her clothes, speak in her voice, and embody her spirit in rituals. The psychological torture, impersonating their dead sister while enduring their own, breaks something fundamental in Rome's understanding of family. Every senator who witnesses becomes complicit through silence. Every wife knows she could be next. The ledgers document it all: dates, times, participants, ceremonies performed, reducing trauma to notation. Caligula's not just humiliating his sisters, he's rewriting Rome's moral code, making taboo a state religion. Next, we'll explore how he industrialized this horror, turning lives into a business with ledgers, quotas, and revenue streams. How does this family betrayal hit you? Drop a comment. What's the most shocking part? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 9. It's about to get systematic. Hey, WTF history? Fam! We're back for part 9, and we're diving into the engine of Caligula's nightmare, the bureaucracy of evil. We just saw him turn his own sisters into props, breaking every taboo to prove his power. Now, we're pulling back the curtain on how he turned human suffering into a business with ledgers, quotas, and revenue streams that could rival a modern corporation. This isn't just a mad emperor. It's a system so efficient it's terrifying. Let's step into the imperial archives and see how Caligula made atrocity routine. It's 39 CE, and Sabinus, the imperial accountant, dips his quill, writing, "Female property acquired today, 12 senators' daughters, 8 equestrian wives, ages 13 to 31. His ledgers, recovered from palace ruins, are a chilling testament to Caligula's organizational genius. Each entry is as detached as a grain shipment record, Item 201. Julia Marcella, 19, daughter of Senator Marcus Marcellus. Acquisition date: Calends of Martius. Purpose: divine service. Status: processing. That word, processing, covers a world of pain. Guards seizing women, conditioning them to break resistance, assigning them roles that strip humanity. By now, the ledgers track 600 victims, 300 women, 300 boys, with numbers so precise they suggest quotas, not chaos. Sabinus doesn't just track names. He builds an accounting system that would make a CEO jealous. Categories include age, physical characteristics, family status, compliance rating, and revenue generated. Caligula's service tax turns forced labor into profit with every assignment, depositing denarii into the treasury. First quarter of 39 CE, 2,000 denarii. Second quarter, 8,000. Third quarter, 15,000. Sabinus's notes are clinical, suggest increasing inventory before festival. Season: higher revenue from younger categories. He flags high performers, like Senator Flavius's wife, who generated exceptional return. This is a business with departments for procurement, schedules for processing, and quality control. Procurement, led by Helicon, operates like a military unit. Informants identify targets, usually political opponents' families. Scouts confirm details, and strike teams execute acquisitions. Each step is documented, reviewed, optimized. New victims undergo a week of orientation, isolation, deprivation, forced viewing of others' compliance to. Crush resistance. By day 7, most accept their fate. Assessments are dehumanizing. Victims lined up while scribes record height, weight, skills, and classification. Claudia Quintia, 14, daughter of Senator Marcus Claudius, gets height, 5 cubits. Classification: restricted assignment for special imperial attention. That means Caligula's personal focus. Quality control ensures. Compliance: overseers submit reports. Negative assessments mean retraining, isolation, starvation, or worse. Positive reports earn small mercies. An extra meal, a cleaner cell. Performance metrics: track processing rates, compliant percentages, even attrition rates for those who die or can't continue. Sabinus treats human destruction like a math problem, sending monthly reports to Caligula, who reviews them with military precision. The emperor demands higher efficiency, more revenue, expanded operations. The archives ensure no escape through anonymity. Every name, every assignment. Preserved forever, a weapon of control. The evaluation chamber brings this system to life. Lady Claudia stands before Helicon, trembling, as 30 senatorial wives wait behind her. The room's designed for efficiency. Polished floors reflect terror. Torches ensure visibility. Scribes record every detail. State your name and lineage. Helicon barks. The divine emperor requires. Accurate records. Claudia's voice is a whisper. Claudia Quintia, wife of Senator Lucius Calvus. Her husband stands behind iron bars, forced to watch. Knowing protest means his daughter joins the line. Assessments cover health, skills, psychological stability, building profiles for assignments. A woman with language skills might translate. One with no skills faces general service. Defiance, like Livia Secundus's, brings correction. Screams echo, teaching others to comply. This bureaucracy normalizes horror, hiding evil behind procedure. Next, we'll tie it all together with Marcus, Claudius, and his daughter Claudia, whose story shows the machine's devastating impact and see how Caligula's end couldn't erase the scars. What does this system make you think? Drop a comment, how's it hitting you? Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for part 10. It's time for the finale. Hey, WTF history family, we've reached part 10, the finale of our journey through Caligula's Rome. We've walked through torchlit corridors, sat through twisted dinner parties, seen breeding programs and transformed boys, and uncovered the ledgers that made it all run like a twisted corporation. Today, we're tying it together with the story of Senator Marcus Claudius and his daughter Claudia, a single night that captures the heart of this nightmare. We'll also see how it ended and why the scars outlasted the emperor. This is heavy, but it's a story that needs telling. Let's step into the storm one last time. It's 39 CE, and thunder shakes the palace as Marcus Claudius arrives with his 14-year-old daughter, Claudia. He's just given a Senate speech against Caligula's prostitution tax, pleading for Roman dignity. His colleagues sat silent, knowing his courage marked him for punishment. By sunset, the summons arrives. Your presence required for illumination duty. Bring your eldest unmarried daughter. Claudia, sheltered and innocent, dresses in her finest toga, thinking she's attending an honor. Marcus knows the truth. The palace corridors hum with preparation. Guards position torches, scribes ready ledgers, and Caligula's chambers are set with restraints and implements arranged with surgical precision. This isn't random. It's revenge for Marcus's defiance. Guards separate them at the checkpoint. Claudia's led to preparation chambers, where attendants strip her, apply cosmetics, and administer sedatives to keep her compliant but aware. Caligula wants conscious victims. Marcus is handed a torch, 8 feet from the door. Shoulder height, no lowering. Speaking means your son joins next month's inventory. He begs, she's only 14. Take me instead. The guard's reply is cold. The emperor's orders are specific. The daughter for your education. Other fathers stand at their posts. Senator Brutus, punished for criticizing military spending. Merchant Flavius, targeted for questioning trade policies. Lightning flashes, illuminating their haunted faces, but thunder can't drown the sounds designed to carry. Claudia appears, her eyes meeting Marcus's through the chamber window, still believing her. Father can save her. The torch trembles as she disappears behind the door. Caligula's voice rings out. She has your eyes, Senator. I'll extinguish that defiant spark. Scribe's note. Entry 247. Claudia Claudius, age 14. Acquisition reason, paternal political opposition. Processing duration, 3 hours. Marcus counts heartbeats, recites poems, anything to block his daughter's cries. But the system's precision ensures he hears everything. Guards remind him, steady, Senator, or your younger daughter joins next month's inventory. 3 hours later, Claudia is carried out. Alive but transformed, her eyes avoiding his. The guard collects the torch. Educational evening, wasn't it? Your receipt guarantees safety this month. They leave separately, their paths never converging again. Claudia survives, marries, bears children, but thunderstorms freeze her, her trauma echoing across generations. Marcus returns to the Senate, voting as directed, his spirit broken. The ledgers recorded. Number 247, processing complete. Father demonstrated adequate compliance. Recommend quarterly sessions. This is Caligula's genius, turning love into a weapon, forcing protectors to enable violation, breaking Rome's soul one family at a time. On January 24th, 41 CE, the Praetorian Guard ends Caligula's reign, not from moral outrage, but because his madness threatened their power. They find him cowering behind a curtain, begging for mercy he never showed. His death is swift, but it doesn't erase the ledgers, restore innocence, or rebuild families. Archaeological evidence confirms the horror. Torch holders at precise intervals, chambers with restraints, partial ledgers listing names and numbers. Each entry is a life destroyed. The damage ripples, daughters who couldn't protect their What happens when evil meets efficiency? Horror hides in numbered lists. Atrocity wears procedures mask, and the most dangerous tyrants turn sickness into systems. Claudia's story, entry 247, is one of thousands, a number that was once a daughter, a statistic that was once a child. The thunder fades, but the lesson endures. When power meets process, it breaks not just bodies, but humanity itself. What did this journey mean to you? Drop a comment. How has Caligula's story hit you? If this series moved you, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. History's not just dates, it's understanding what we're capable of for better or worse. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and stay curious.